Have you ever looked someone in the eye, really looked and felt it? That weird gnawing twist deep in your gut. They smiled, nodded, even told you they were proud of you. But something felt off, like your soul just whispered, "Nope, this isn't real." You can't explain it. There's no evidence, no fight, no betrayal. On the outside, everything looks fine. But on the inside, their energy stings. Their applause feels thin. Their laugh, it's just empty. And when you succeed, there's this tiny pause before they fake a cheer. That's not in your head. That's not paranoia. Carl Jung called this the shadow. It's not some movie villain, it's the hidden, unspoken part of the psyche. It lives behind pleasant greetings and polite nods. But inside it holds envy, silent rage, quiet rivalry, and unspoken resentment. And here's the thing. If you keep ignoring that tiny whisper, that discomfort, you'll eventually pay for it, not always dramatically, but slowly. It'll bleed you dry, emotionally, sometimes physically, because hatred disguised as love doesn't slice its seeps. It hugs you while quietly draining the life out of you. So in this video, I'm breaking down 8 disturbing signs that someone close to you doesn't just dislike you. They might secretly hate you. And look, most people don't catch these signs until it's too late. Not until they're already wrecked, emotionally used, or quietly broken. But stick with me to the end. Sign number 8. It flips a mental switch. After that, you won't unsee it. Chapter 1: Sarcasm and Contempt. When humor has a blade, you're so sensitive. Geez, I was kidding. Ever heard that? Probably more than once. It sounds like a joke, but you leave feeling bruised. Here's the truth: some jokes are sugar-coated daggers. Sarcasm can be harmless, sure, but sometimes it's surgical hate dressed as humor. They know what hurts your past, your body, your history, and they keep jabbing over and over. It's always just teasing, right? But you walk away feeling small, alone, humiliated. And if you speak up, you're the buzzkill. Relax. Can't you take a joke? Let's call it out. That's not humor. That's manipulation. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." But here's the catch. People who refuse to face their own darkness, they push it onto others. That's sarcasm. It's their self-hatred leaking out sideways. Their jokes aren't harmless. Their laughter isn't joy, it's camouflage. If you've ever laughed with a group but cried when you got home, you know what I'm talking about. That's not love. That's psychological warfare. And the scariest part, there's no visible wound. Just you slowly unraveling. Chapter 2: Subtle Sabotage. When help hurts. You ever notice someone accidentally forgets to tell you something important? Something that could have changed everything. Or they give advice that surprise somehow leads to disaster. And then there's that missed event, your big moment, your launch, your thing. And they ghosted again. One time, okay, maybe life got in the way. 2, odd. But 3, 4, 5 times, that's not forgetfulness. That's a pattern. Carl Jung talked about how people stuck in their own insecurity will pull others down instead of rising up. So when someone's rooted in jealousy or inadequacy, they might mask their sabotage as concern. It looks like friendship, sounds like support, but it drains you. They'll say things like, "I was just trying to help," but deep down they know. They always know. They delay your wins, slow your momentum, quietly chip at your confidence. Not in a loud way, in a quiet, stealthy, oops kind of way. Here's the brutal truth. People like this don't want to lose you. but only as long as you stay beneath them. If someone keeps showing up late to your life, if they keep feeding your doubt while smiling in your face, that's not love. That's fear masquerading as loyalty. Chapter 3: Silent Competition. When every compliment comes with a scorecard, you get good news. Something you worked your butt off for. You share it, expecting joy or at least a "wow, that's amazing." But what you get is, "Oh, cool. Guess what I did yesterday?" And suddenly it's not your moment anymore. Your shine makes them uncomfortable, so they dim the lights. You rise, they pull themselves higher, but not to stand with you, to eclipse you. And it's never direct. It's all quiet side eyes and forced smiles. The truth, they're not celebrating with you. They're tallying. Carl Jung's quote hits hard here again. Everything that irritates us. You know the rest, but these folks, they don't reflect. They don't heal. They compete. Because what you've nurtured, confidence, clarity, progress, shines a light on everything they've ignored. So they make it a contest, and you didn't even know you were playing. Every win becomes a quiet war. Every step forward triggers a passive-aggressive counter move. Not because they hate you, but because your growth reminds them they're standing still. If your joy feels like a threat in someone's presence, if you shrink your success so they don't feel small, ask yourself this: is this a friendship or a scorekeeping match? Sometimes the real enemy isn't the loud one. It's the one who claps the quietest when you win. Chapter 4: Superficial Kindness. The smile that never reaches the eyes. You know that weird quiet ache when someone says something nice, but it just doesn't land, like "I'm proud of you," or "so happy for you." But your body, not your mind, your body just sort of recoils. Yeah, that. It's not paranoia, it's pattern recognition. Because here's the thing, words are cheap. Real connection, that's expensive. Costs presence, costs effort, costs some kind of soul fire. And when someone says all the right things but delivers none of the energy behind them, it's like trying to warm your hands over a photo of a fireplace. Feels like a show, doesn't it? Real ones, they're there. Not just in your highlight reel, but in your behind-the-scenes breakdowns too. They don't need the perfect thing to say. They feel with you. They show up with tissues, with snacks, with silence, whatever you need. But the others, the ones running on empty smiles and automated compliments, they ghost when it gets messy. And when they do show up, the room somehow gets colder. Carl Jung had a term for this emotional vacancy: ego dissociation. Sounds clinical, but it's just a fancy way of saying their heart left the chat. They're not villains. They're just not available. Not emotionally, maybe not spiritually. Possibly not even to themselves. So yeah, they say the right things. But what strikes me is that their words feel like echoes in an empty house. Hollow. Scripted. Kind, but off. If someone's kindness feels like a customer service email, you're not being loved, you're being handled. And here's the part we don't want to admit. If your gut keeps telling you something's missing, it probably is. Chapter 5: Controlling through Care. The most dangerous manipulation. Let's get real, control doesn't always come wrapped in rage. Sometimes it shows up wearing soft sweaters and speaking in lullabies. "I just want what's best for you. You'll understand when you're older. This is coming from love." Sounds sweet, protective, almost comforting. But why do you feel like you're slowly shrinking? It starts subtle. You light up with an idea, they gently dim it. You share a dream, they wrap it in realism. You take a leap, they call it reckless. They never raise their voice, they raise doubt. And the wild part, they're often half right. Their advice sounds grounded, logical even. That's what makes it dangerous. Because little by little, you stop checking in with yourself and start seeking their approval. Carl Jung nailed it again. People who haven't made peace with their own inner chaos often reach outward, trying to regulate others instead. They're not guiding, they're gripping. They build this invisible cage made out of concern. And before you know it, you're second-guessing your joy, your gut, your growth. You start thinking, maybe I am being naive. Maybe I do need to slow down. Maybe they know me better than I know myself. That's not love. That's fear dressed up in supports clothing. True care empowers you. It lifts, it lets go. Fake care, it suffocates while smiling. So next time someone calls their control love, ask yourself, does this feel like I'm being protected or preserved in place? Because real love says go, fly. If you fall, I'll catch you. Fake love says don't jump, it's dangerous. There's a difference. Chapter 6, Gossip and Criticism. What they say when you're not around. You walk in, something's off. The air feels heavier. Conversations pause, then fumble to restart. Smiles flicker too fast. No one says anything, but your bones, they know. You've been discussed, and not in the "isn't she amazing" kind of way. See, gossip isn't just small talk. It's psychological warfare, done in whispers, smiles, and casual tone drops. And it's always strategic. Chapter 6, Gossip and Criticism. What they say when you're not around. Continued. People who lack the courage to confront you often find the time to narrate your story behind your back. They don't critique your choices. They question your character, quietly, steadily. They plant doubt like seeds, let others water it, then stand back innocent. Jung had this beautiful and brutal observation. The brighter your light, the darker your shadow becomes in the eyes of others. Translation: some people don't hate you for your flaws. They hate you for your clarity. Your confidence highlights their self-doubt. Your growth reminds them they're stuck. Your peace disrupts their chaos. So instead of rising with you, they retreat into pettiness. Instead of saying, I feel insecure, they make you the villain in their internal drama. Here's what I've learned, and yeah, the hard way. Gossip says more about the speaker than the subject. Always. Someone emotionally whole doesn't need to slice you to feel tall. So the next time the energy dips when you enter the room, trust that. Don't second guess it. You don't need receipts when your intuition's already screaming. Their whispers aren't your burden. They're just the soundtrack of their own unhealed stuff. And while they talk, keep walking, keep growing, keep glowing. Because silence, it's not weakness, it's class, it's strength. It's the mic drop they'll never see coming. Chapter 7, When Success Feels Lonely. You'd think the hard part was over, right? The grinding, the tears, the nights where your chest felt like it might collapse under the weight of will this ever work? But then, you win. Not everything, maybe, but enough. You land the job, launch the thing, make it out of the dark. And suddenly, silence. The people who used to cheer you on when you were crawling, quiet. The ones who said, I'm always here, nowhere to be found. You send them the good news, a milestone, a breakthrough, a simple, hey, I did it. They respond with cool. No celebration, no joy, not even a real smile. Let's be honest, that shit hurts. Because when you were low, you were digestible, familiar. They could handle that version of you, but this new you, the one evolving, daring, shining. You've become a mirror, and some people don't like what they see reflected. I've felt that shift, the one where someone used hug you tight, but now it feels like they're holding back. Their energy doesn't lie, their eyes flicker away when you talk about your win. Their tone flat, muted. They might say that's great, but it lands hollow. Because what they mean is, I don't know how to be happy for you without grieving me. Carl Jung said it so clearly: if someone cannot rejoice in your joy, they're battling an internal war. And wow, that war has nothing to do with you. But you feel it anyway, because emotional absence doesn't need a declaration. It speaks volumes in what's missing. No texts, no questions, no genuine tell me everything. You start shrinking, tiptoeing, toning yourself down, just to avoid making someone uncomfortable with your glow. Here's the hard truth. Not everyone who walks with you through the fire wants to stand next to you in the spotlight. And that's not your fault, but it is your lesson. Your growth doesn't need a standing ovation. It needs your own damn permission. We talked about the truth behind fake support and how your gut can detect what words can't. Explore the unconscious with us. Subscribe so you don't miss the next videos.